Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of the Young and Brainless Podcast. Now, this has been a long time coming. I've been thinking about making a podcast to add to my already existing side of myself where I make music. Yes. If you guys know me personally, you guys know my real name, but this is going to be hosted by my artist name, my artist persona. So let me briefly introduce myself. I'm Drez. I am an independent musician. I make pop music, I make rap music, I make R&B, I've made trap music. And this is really just a different side of me, because if you listen to my music, you already listen to what I feel when I'm writing a song, but you never really listen to myself as not an artist. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's exactly what this is all about. Now, that's what I do. This whole podcast thingy, I've been trying to make this for, I want to say, over a year. Things were really about to get started in, I want to say, February of 2019. And I've had the idea since 2018, but a little more on that later. So I wanted to start this podcast in 2019. It was under a different name, and we'll get into that as well. But the reason why I decided to get into making podcasts, which I already explained, let's cut that. Okay, originally the podcast was not supposed to be called Young and Brainless whatsoever. That's a title that really just came to me later on in the process, and I'm not gonna lie to anyone that's listening to this, it came to me maybe less than a month ago, because I had so many different ideas and none of them really fit, or none of them really had the broad range that I needed, So the idea of the original podcast was, it was going to be called Artist Spotlight. And with Artist Spotlight, it was supposed to be a place where artists, musicians specifically, were going to be on the podcast, talk about their new song, kind of promote it a little more, things like that. New song, new music, whatever it was, that's exactly what I was going to be pushing. And as an artist myself, I know how hard it is to get noticed out there in the real world nowadays, because these things are hard, man. It's an actual hard it's a hard industry. And look, I'm independent, so I don't really know much about the real world, but this is just me, I'm taking it from my perspective, and based off what I've seen, it is hard, it is brutal, it is not friendly to you whatsoever. And I wanted to help as many artists as I can get their things out there, because sometimes you got to pay for promotion, sometimes you got to pay for distribution, and I currently pay for distribution, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's, if you're paying for it, you got to try to get the most out of it. And this is something that was going to be a supplement to the to those releases. Now, the title of Young and Brainless, like I said, didn't come to me that easy. And originally, this podcast, and I had an episode recorded way back. Originally, this podcast was gonna be called Artist Spotlight. Again, focusing on the artists that needed the promotion. We had a guest lined up. We were ready to talk about their music. Things just didn't go well, mainly because I got sick in February of last year, and I never really fully recovered from it up until maybe late this year during quarantine, during lockdown. And even then, sometimes I'm not really fully recovered, because what was the issue was that I had damaged my stomach lining, and I was getting nauseous very easily. I was not eating enough. I was hungry, let's say like 2 p.m. And then let's say I wanted to eat at 2:30. My appetite was gone, and I felt grossed out at the smell of food, at the sight of food. And it was pretty bad, and that lasted for a good while. And all it really took was me to get distracted with something else, and that kind of helped me get back into a regular routine. So that really stopped me from doing that. It messed me up in school, it messed me up at home, it messed me up at work, it messed me up in music. Like, it was a very, very weird time. But when that happened, when that first began, the podcast was about to take off. that we had schedules lined up, we had guests lined up, and things just fell apart. And during the hiatus that I guess, or the pause of the process of making the podcast, um, it was during that time where I had to start thinking about, like, do I really want to focus on just music, or do I want to focus on more than just music? I want to focus on different things, maybe. And I lived my life. I lived my life in 2019, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I felt recovered. I got more information on what I want to do. Maybe I shouldn't focus on music or just music, because it is something I know about, but it's not something I know too much about. And I use that little thing to come up with this podcast title, Young and Brainless. I'm 22, about to be 23 next April, or this upcoming April. And, there's still a lot of things I don't know about. And that's something I kind of want to figure out. Just things that people have gone through that I haven't, just people that have had crazy experiences, and they can tell their side of the story of these things to give a better understanding to those that may have similar experiences, or just want to know about different people. Because there's so much in this world that we have not discovered yet, and some people have gone through things that we haven't, and that's exactly what it's about. We're young and we're brainless because we don't know about the things that other people have to offer. We think that we do, but we don't, and that's what I aim to bring with this. So with this podcast, I'm gonna try to bring a variety of guests to just explain, whatever they feel like explaining, and they're just gonna talk it. They're gonna talk it out with me, and then me, I'm interested. If I'm inviting these guests, because I'm interested to hear what they gotta say. And sometimes we're not gonna have actual deep conversations. Sometimes I might have a guest that we can just joke around with, and from there you get to understand exactly what who we are as people, and kind of just get a feel of where a lot of us stand in life, and maybe we have things that could help you. We can have advice segments here. That's definitely something that I do want to have within this podcast. I want to have advice segments. I want to have the music thing will also be part of this, because I like music, and I'm sure a lot of other people like music. There's many artists out there who like different kinds of music that I do, and have a different way of handling their musical career than the way that I do it. So that's something that I would like to get informed about as well. Maybe I can help other people, with their musical journey. And that's, there's so endless possibilities with the Young and Brainless podcast. And I hope those that do listen to it, those that have stuck around this far, this is not a long first episode. This is very short because it's origins, and I just want people to hopefully stay. Hopefully you guys enjoy what this podcast has to offer. I know it might not sound great right now because we're just getting started, but hopefully down the line we're gonna have better quality, and we're gonna really show everybody that there's a lot to life that you haven't figured out and that I haven't figured out. We don't know everything yet. Some of us are so young and brainless, some are old and brainless. You never know, right? But that aside, some goals that I aim to bring with this podcast is I definitely want people to tell their story. That's the goal that I want to have, or that I have actually, with this podcast. Another reason why this podcast was kind of written, or not written, what's the correct phrase for it? Maybe created. Yeah, why this podcast was really created is that I am not the type of person that desires to work at an office, that desires to work at a place where you have to work for others in a way. I kind of want to work for myself, maybe by myself, maybe with a team, but I don't want to be the one having to report to other people. And I know that might sound very selfish, that might sound very cocky, but it's something that I do want. It's something that I'm chasing in life. I don't want to work for agencies. I don't want to work for companies. I don't want to work for big things like that. I want to work for myself. And you never know. This podcast might take it there. That's not the reason why I created it, though, but it can take it there. And that's something that I do with music as well. Music was, the origins of my music career was just I want to hear my song in the car. That's really where it all came from. I want to hear my song in the car, and I want people to be listening to my song. I never expected any fame. I never expected any money to come in from it. I just wanted to give it a try. I wanted to see, maybe if I make a song, it will be played in other people's cars. And when I first started music, that was not the case, nor did I want to play my own songs in my own car because they were that bad. And throughout the years, I definitely got better. I started taking it more seriously back in 2014 when one of my songs actually did pretty well around my neighborhood. If you guys are listening to this and have heard this song, you guys know which one I'm talking about. If you don't, the song is called Issues, and that one did extremely well for the time being. So I'm like, you know what, maybe this, and okay, so Issues came out right as I thought that I was gonna. I told myself I'm gonna quit music. I'm gonna release this album or project or mixtape, whatever. I'm gonna release this mixtape, and I'm done. I'm done here. I don't want to keep making this music. The song did well, and I actually felt like satisfied with the outcome of the song. And I said, you know what? Maybe this is something that I could turn into something real, something as a real profession. So I followed up with another single. It did well as well. I followed it up with a mixtape, and it did extremely well. And I'm like, you know what? This could actually be something that I could work with. And so I continued the music, and fast forward to now. Since then I've released maybe 8-9 projects that I can say I'm somewhat proud of. Okay, maybe not somewhat proud of. I've released maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 projects that I'm really proud of. And I've taken it seriously since I want to say 2018. Like 2014 was like, okay, maybe I can do it. 2018 was like, okay, let's really take off. And I uploaded my things on iTunes and Spotify and all that. And I'm getting a taste of what the industry seems like. You know, I'm below the bottom of the barrel, but I'm getting some sort of feel with what the industry has to offer. And that's just music. Like, that's just music. And this whole podcast thing is a brand new world for me. But maybe I'm not too familiar with the world, and I'm definitely going to hit a couple bumps along the way. But hey, man, we're on this journey together. And hopefully you guys stick with me, you know? So, again, just a quick recap. Welcome to the Young Brainless Podcast. Again, any questions that you might have, you guys can follow me on Instagram and submit them. It's at DIIREZ. You guys can follow me. Maybe don't, if you don't want to follow me, but send some questions in. And you guys are always welcome to message me and ask for advice. I might not give you the right advice that you want, but you get a different perspective of things. And hopefully that helps whoever's listening with anything that they need in their life, you know? So whether it be me, whether it be some of the guests that will be on this, I really hope that we can help you out. I really hope that those that do join this podcast team can teach me, and we can teach each other things that we don't know yet. Because there are many things that we don't know yet. We think we got the answer, but we really don't. And that's definitely something that I want to address in this, you know. And that's something, that's where the title comes from. We're young and brainless, you know. The next episode should definitely have a guest on it. It probably already does, and it's probably listed already on the list of episodes. But there's a lot that we're going to be talking about. And I hope this gives you guys an insight to what other lifestyle people got. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna clock out. It's a quick, brief introduction. The Young and Brainless Podcast. It's gonna be aired once a week. We're looking at a Wednesday release each week, and if it does well, maybe we'll do 2 or 3 releases a week. You know, but this is something that we're trying to do, and there will be bumps, and I hope you guys stick with us throughout this journey. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys have a great week, month, year. It's still 2020. We gotta get out of this. Anyway, all right, guys. Have a great year, time, whatever. Peace.